Good morning, Monday the 6th of December 2021. Hello, how are you? Welcome along. If you are watching this on catch up, then firstly, hi. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. This is our 8 a.m. movement snack. Running just a couple of minutes later now because I'm just going to go empty the bucket again underneath the boiler. Finally managed to get them to come out early. Finally managed to get hold of somebody to say, can you come out early for me? Thursday's no good. House is not going to be here by then. It's going to be underwater at this rate. So hence a couple of minutes later than I wanted to actually be here with you. How are things? Good morning. Welcome along. This is your 8 a.m. movement snack. It's our first opportunity of the day to get extra movements into our day, and that's what we're going to do. So good morning to Dawn, good morning to Francis McFarlane, who's down in Bristol. I can see other people popping up there. Who else have we got? Was that Christine? I think we've got Mrs. Perry is in. So good morning to you, Mrs. Perry. Good to have you with us in from Port Talbot. Hope everything is good with you. This is Monday, the 6th of December 2021. It's our 8 a.m. movement snack, opportunity number 1 to get those additional movements into our day. Now, I haven't got a later life top on today because it's absolutely freezing in the house still. Went and bought a couple of oil-filled radiators yesterday and sort of dotted them around the house. But it's really cold first thing in the morning, so I've just zipped a load of layers on and I'm ready to zip out the door then out. Good job I haven't got my coat on as well. Excuse me. Good morning to Margaret Hamilton. Good to have you with us. Jane Andrews, good morning. Good to have you with us. Maddie Stranger, good morning. You're doing your first 10-minute, then catching up. Taxi is coming. Okay. Let's get ourselves ready to go then, folks. Sandra Hewitt is in from Waterlooville. Your tree looks beautiful. Thank you very much. Managed to finish off the outside decorations yesterday in between emptying buckets underneath the boiler. So it's been a busy old one. Good morning, Dave and everyone from a cold and wet Brennan. That is from Rita. Good morning, Rita. Good to have you with us. George, stormy weather coming back to the northeast of Scotland. I know. Stay safe, everybody, won't you? I know there's more storms coming in. Another storm heading our way. Carol Elliott, good morning to you from Bedfordshire, part of the collective. I could never forget you, part of the collective. Carol, don't worry. And Gloria Leggett, good morning to you. It's cold. It is cold, isn't it? Margaret Wood, good morning, good morning, good morning. In from Chesterfield. From dark, dreary Chesterfield. Oh, it's dark and dreary all over the place, I think, at the moment, isn't it? Right, let's get ourselves ready to go, shall we? So, if you want to lose those comments off the bottom of the screen, swipe them to the right and they're gone. That's if you're on a phone or a mobile. Phone or a tablet, sorry. If you're on a computer or a desktop or a mobile, then they can stay in the bottom corner. Shall we have a 3, 2, 1? Okay. 3, 2, 1. Good morning, everybody. Welcome along. You're with Dave Montgomery from Layla Life Training. Today is Monday. It's the 6th of December 2021, and this is our 8 a.m. movement snack. Should we get ourselves ready to go? Come on then, bring yourself in. So, if we're in standing, we have plenty of room around us, so nothing that's going to cause us any issues as far as foot placement is concerned, nothing that we can tread on. We've got our fixed external support available to us. And I've got my socks on. That's so I can engage with the floor. I have got my socks on, look. There they are. I'm just trying to stay warm as well. So I can engage with the floor. But if you're on a hard floor, remember it's sensible, comfortable footwear. All right, chair-wise, we've got a good, sturdy chair. So, let's have a look at our posture before we start. We've got our heels in line with our knees and our knees are in line with our hips. We're going to lift and lengthen to grow that a little bit taller. Bringing the shoulders up, back and pressing down. In our chair, then we're going to bring our back away from the chair to start off with. From here, look, sitting a little bit taller. And then we've got a lift and a shift to bring ourselves into the front third of the chair. Once we're sat in the front third of the chair, we sit tall. We lengthen. From here, we can get ourselves ready to start with our circulation boosting. So lifting the heels off the floor, bringing those heels off the floor to start to get some movement happening down into our lower parts of our body. We start with small movements and then we build them to make them bigger. Here we can take it into a march, lifting the foot clear of the floor, pointing the toes down towards the floor. It means we start to get some movement happening down into that ankle joint. Now, in a march, in a seated position, we might get a little bit of fatigue here. So if we do, back into that heel raise, or how about a little toe tap out diagonally to the side. Add an arm in, driving the elbow backwards for the arm, making sure that we get some movement, some driven, some focus, some concentrated movement into that shoulder, not just a pendular type swing. And then in seated and in standing, if we're not using support, we can just change hands to the other side. However, if we are using support, let's think about what we're doing. So, if it's in front, hand comes down, other hand comes off. If our support is to the side, then what we're going to do is keep the feet going, but make them a bit smaller. Lose the hand. Start to take some turns, as many steps as you need to turn around. Put both hands on. As you carry on turning, bring the other hand off. And then once you've turned around, we can bring that other march back in with the other arm, swinging through, driving through. Finally, in seated and standing, if you feel steady, stable and coordinated, then both arms, both legs together gives us a bigger movement all over. And that's what this is all about. Big movements. Bigger movements, boosting the circulation as we want to do. We're warming the joints, we're loosening the joints, we're warming the muscles, we're getting the blood pumping around the body, and we get ourselves ready to rock and roll. Once we've done about 2.5 minutes, 3 minutes max of that, make it a bit of a smaller movement and bring it to a pause. At this point, we need to take a couple of deep breaths, or we probably will want to take a couple of deep breaths rather than we need to. Right, let's get ourselves ready to go then. So, starting with our top trio. In our top trio, we look at our head and our shoulders. So shoulders firstly. Good base of support, heels outside of our hips, knees softened, lifted and lengthened. Shoulders up towards the ears, and then let's press them back down. Now as we press back down, we're trying to come back past where we started. So try and get those shoulder blades down the back. So lifting and then pressing back down. Lengthening down through the back. Keeping this neck long so we bring the shoulders up to the ears. We don't bring the ears down to the shoulders. That's not a good look. Exactly the same in seated position as well. 4 or 5 is what we're looking at, and try and get the best range of motion that you can. Now once you've done your 4 or 5, take a little pause for me, and then let's bring it into this cyclical motion. So we bring the shoulders forward, we bring them up towards our ears, back past our ear lobes, and press down as we bring the shoulder blades together. Here comes Maisie, look, she's off to bed. There she goes. She always has her bed under the tree at Christmas. So she's just taken herself off to bed. And then we do 4 or 5 of those as well. Now, once we've done our 4 or 5, let's take a little pause there. We're going to turn our head. Now, this can make us feel a little bit dizzy. So, if you do feel a little bit dizzy, make sure you've got support available. Use your support or come into a seated position. Head, chin level, eyeline level, turn to the side, pause in the centre, and then turn the other way. And this turn to the side is something we do all the time in everyday life, isn't it? We're forever turning our head. But here we're trying to get the best range of motion that we can, remembering we shouldn't feel any pain. Unless we have pain in our neck normally, in which case no new pain, no additional pain. 4 or 5 on each side is what you're looking at. So once you've got that 4 or 5 turns on both sides, take a pause. Let's take it. Excuse me. Oh, let's take it into our head extension. So I'm going to come down on the floor here. I'm going to keep my eyeline level, so I'm going to give myself another chin. Fingers on the chin, lengthening back here. Can you see how by the chin staying tucked in, I lengthen down through the back of the head here, looks like. There we go. Not looking up, not looking down. Now we can either keep the fingers on the chin as we come back, but we're not pressing, we're just guiding. Or we can leave the fingers where they are and come back and forth. 4 or 5 of those is what you're looking for. And you're restacking the head back onto the top of the spine, basically. That's what we're doing. We're reloading everything. We're resetting it. We're not allowing that head to come forward and drag everything forward with it. Once you've done your 4 or 5 of those, we're back into a circulation booster. 30 seconds. So, into a march. We'll just do the legs on this one, yeah? Use your support if you need it. Try and get those ankle movements happening again so we get some real good motion into our ankle joints as well. before we head down there, because now we head from top to trunk. So 30 seconds of this movement, bring it to a pause, set ourselves up with our good big base of support. So our heels are outside of our hips, lifted and lengthened, shoulders up, back and down. The first movement is a side bend and it comes straight down, straight up. Now, if you're using support in front, you change hands every time and take it to the side. If the support is to the side, then into your support, back to the center, do it all on one side, and then as many steps as you need to turn into your support and change. In seated, same big base of support. Use a chair leg, as long as it goes straight down to come down and up. Now you might want to get used to putting your legs where they are, especially if you're coming to standing, if that's where you're aiming to be. Bring your legs into the position we'd want them in our standing, so we've got that good base of support, and you'll see we're still with this side bend, working within that base of support. It's about reaching as far as we can, and the thing with the leg or the leg of the chair is that gives us a guide as to how far we're actually reaching down, so over time we can see that things are getting a little bit better. Once you've done 4 or 5 on each side, take a pause. We're going to head into our trunk twist. Now here we don't want the pelvis to move, we don't want the hips to turn. So in seated, it's about keeping your sitting bones firmly on the chair. Your bum stays firmly fixed to that chair. In seated, we might want to take one hand across to the other knee and rotate to the side, keeping the weight even across the bottom. Changing sides every time. In standing, you could do the same if you're using support, changing hands every time. But have a look, these hips are staying still. So we're here, we're turning, we're back into the centre, pausing and then the other way. So therefore, if you are using support to the side, remember it's all into one side and then turn, but you might want to look at it like this. Pop your support behind you or in front on your hips, and now as I turn I can feel that I've got movement into my hips and my pelvis, because I can feel the way that my bottom is interacting with this wall or with the table in front of me, or whatever the support is. I can feel if I've got some lifting away either at the front or the back, and that's going to tell me whether I've got any movement into my hips. Trying to focus into the hips so we get this movement really focused into the trunk and we get the best mobility that we can as far as that trunk is concerned. 4 or 5 quality ones on each side. Again, trying to take it as far as you can, but don't overdo it. Make sure your hips stay still. Once those hips start to turn, we've lost really the benefit of the trunk rotation. Let's get it all focused into here. We use this so much. Remember, we turn over on our side, when we look to the side, we put seat belts on, all those sorts of activities. Once you've done your 4 or 5 of those, take a pause and let's head into our back extension. Now, back extension wise, standing tall. This is me standing here, look. Knees softened. Again, we're going to keep the eye line level, so we're going to give ourselves another chin. The movement is to lift the chest and then extend backwards. But have a look, I'm trying to keep my pelvis still. So what I'm not doing is leaning back. Yeah? We've got a lift of the chest and an extension back. So once again, it might be that you find in standing, utilising that support gives you an indication of how you're doing. And if I move my chair, reposition my chair, one, you can see Maisie up under the bed, under the tree. She's as happy as, she loves it under the tree, little twinkly lights, and she's got a little decoration hangs down for her to play with. Right, here we are, sitting tall. Again, I've got the lift, the eye line stays level, and an extension back, and my pelvis is staying still. Now, same as when I do this in standing with support, I can feel that I've got movement into my pelvis, so I haven't got to think about that so much. I can just feel it through the way that my bottom is interacting with that chair. That tells me where I am. So, 4 or 5 of those is what you're looking for. And again, make them count. Try and get that best extension you can. And if you have any lower back pain, this is really going to help as far as that lower back pain is concerned. Once you've done your 4 or 5 of those, take a little pause and we're back into another circulation booster. We've finished the trunk trio. We're heading downstairs to our ankle, feet and toes. It's foot trio time. Right, so just the arms. One arm at a time if you're utilising support, or you might find that you feel okay without your support. Driving those elbows backwards. Driving through, keeping the elbows soft, but making a driven, controlled movement. We're looking at about 30 seconds again. Whether we're in seated or in standing, that same movement. Utilising your support if you need to, as I say. Change your hand every now and again. Get a bigger movement in there. Bigger reach forward, but still that drive backwards. Okay, take a pause and let's head into our ankle, feet and toes. Now, foot that's closest to the support is going to stay still and use your support. At least have it there, because we don't want to focus on balance. We want to focus on getting the best mobility out of our foot, don't we? So bring the other foot close into it, in line with it. Take your eye line to the front. The knee stays soft, and the movement is to lift and place your toes on the floor. Once you've got your toes there, you're going to lift and place the heel in exactly the same place. Now, eye line stays to the front, and we come toe and heel. Now, as you put your heel down on the floor, give your toes a little scrunch. As you take your, as you put your heel down on the floor, give your toes a little splay, As you bring the foot over, scrunch the toes and then point them down towards the floor. 4 or 5 on one side, turn into your support, as many steps as you need to do it on the other side. Seated wise, we can do the same movement, but let's readdress where our feet are so we get this position in the same place. And it's not just about getting the position in the same place, it's about trying to get the best range of motion. So you might find by bringing the foot forward a little bit more, you get a better range of motion into your ankle and toe. You might find if you bring it back a little bit, that works better for you. It's where feels right for you, but you're trying to get the toe and the heel in the same place. Or have a little walk back into the back of the chair. Extend the leg away so it's just off the floor about an inch. That's all. Point it away for me and then flex it in. Now, as you point away, scrunch the toes. As you bring it back, flex those toes out, open them out and get that movement within there. Now, foot can rest every now and again, so if you've done a couple and you want to put your foot down and have a rest, do it. And equally, don't let your foot rise up. This isn't about building strength into the thighs, it's about getting the best range of motion down into those ankles. Once you've done your 4 or 5 on one side, then you change to the other side. And if we take it into our standing again, you're right there, darling. Yes. If we take it into our standing, then we've got this movement here, look. Heel and toe action. This is our walk, isn't it? Exaggerated, but this is what a walk looks like. We step forward, put our heel down, we roll through onto the ball of the foot and we come up onto our toes. And that's why we do it. Right, that's you done for today. Have a wonderful day, everybody. I finally managed to get hold of, just before this, that's why I was a couple of minutes later than I wanted to be. I like to be here about 5 to normally. A couple of minutes later, I finally managed to get hold of British Gas to actually speak to somebody. Can't believe it. Spoke to somebody rather than a machine, and managed to get someone to come out and fix the boiler today. Or hopefully fix the boiler. I've just got a feeling they might just shut it off. For today, so at least we can get rid of the buckets with the leaking water, hopefully. I'm off now to empty my bucket again, and I'll see you real soon. Have a great day, everybody. Make sure you keep motion and make sure you keep mobility on your radar, and keep crowbarring away as you go, won't you? Have a good one. Toodles.